everybody. You're tuning in to Mad About It. I'm your host, Becky. Becky with the good hair. That's right. It's me. Oh my god. Alright. So I'll be lying to you. First off, I apologize for the horrible audio mixing in the last episode. It was horrible. My only excuse is that, I don't know, man, I was out of practice. Oh, and happy Black History Month. I figured we'd, celebrate some Black History Month by talking about some Black feminism. Also, the other thing is, I just can't stop thinking about the serious amount of phony baloney that's happened to me since I've been transgender. The thing is that I had a whole lot of really liberal friends, like a whole lot of really tremendously liberal friends, and I've met a lot of really liberal people, and the weirdest thing is that the people who are maybe the best about this, that are the least annoying, are just regular straight people, and also just people who don't think that they know everything about trans people. Like, people that are like, I don't know anything about that. Like, those people I don't have problems with. I don't have problems with those people. What I have problems with are the people who think they know stuff that's wrong, and I think we're all used to the sort of person that's like, I think I know stuff and it's wrong. Like climate change deniers, like those people, they think they know stuff and it's wrong. People that say that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, like those people think they know stuff, but they're wrong. What else is crazy? There's a lot of crazy nonsense. I mean, the flat earthers, they think they know stuff, but they're wrong. The QAnon people. Yeah, remember when the fucking White House got attacked by itself? The QAnon people think they know a whole lot of stuff. They think they know so much stuff, but they don't. It's all nonsense. So it's tough when somebody thinks that they know something and is inflexible or incapable of seeing someone else's perspective. And it's a bit of a long intro to the intersectional feminism episode, but Becky identifies as an intersectional feminist. And if you have a social media account, you very well may also identify as an intersectional feminist. And I kind of just started to, I met some intersectional feminists recently who were not in practice intersectional feminists at all. And it's just like, how is this happening? Like, how are people, like, where is the accountability for the intersectionality in practice? I guess that's what I'm looking for. I'm not sure. Because the whole reason that we have to have intersectional feminism, and we'll get into it, the whole reason that we have to have it is because, second wave feminists were really non-inclusive. And some of them are. I'm not talking about everybody, but the first and the second wave of feminism seems to have benefited white women the most. And in 1989, Kimberlé Crenshaw, a law professor in America, was like, I think we need a new type of feminism, or at least a new word for what feminism is and should be evolving into. And she called it intersectional feminism. And the way that she describes it is a prism for seeing the way in which various forms of inequality often operate together and exacerbate each other. So that's the intersectional part. Overlapping identities, compounding discrimination, exacerbating inequalities. So I'm sure you're familiar with the right wingers making jokes about how, like, everybody in the left wing is just trying to elect like queer, black, disabled candidates because they're queer, black, and disabled. And it's like, like, yeah, that's actually the point. Like, the whole point is that before now, you have oppressed and discredited people with that perspective so thoroughly that you would never elect them to office. And now there's kind of a double-edged sword where, by acknowledging the need for representation of more than just a handful of demographics, then there's gonna be people that you haven't talked to or worked with before that you're now talking to and working with. That's how that works. So it's unbelievable. It's just like kind of and we're gonna get into it, but it's kind of like the thing that makes intersectional feminism so good and so important is also the thing that its opposition goes straight for to discredit it. It's kind of an unwelcome side effect of this brand of feminism. And we're gonna talk about the pitfalls. And I identify as an intersectional feminist, so I don't think that any sort of ideology or any sort of philosophy is without pitfalls. I don't see that. I don't understand how you can claim to not have any weak points, Like, almost everything has a weak point, So there are inevitably pitfalls, but why do things inevitably have pitfalls? Is it because of the design, or is it because of the way that people use it? And that's what we're going to get into by categorizing and identifying and labeling everything in order to bring attention to who needs the most help and why, and how to empathize and how to reach out across minority boundaries and understand the shared experience. An unwelcome side effect of that is a whole lot of labels. And people like to abuse labels like crazy. There's always that one kid in class that puts like a quadrillion stickers onto everything and has like a 16 subject binder, even though they're only taking like 5 classes. So like, what are all those subjects? Why do they all have so many stickers? And, are you really helping yourself stay organized for class? Or are you gonna completely abandon this like 16 folder, like, 50 sticker system in about 3 days because you can't even fucking keep up with it yourself? And before you know it, you're missing assignments and you're turning shit late, and then you're pointing fingers. And that's kind of been my experience with some of these intersectional feminists. I met a particularly bad one, and I've been trying to process, how it is that somebody can use something so good as like a mask, and people do this all the time. And people used to accuse, they don't used to, people still accuse, because men are still doing it. Men will still claim to be feminists to get laid and not actually practice any feminist beliefs or have any sort of, sense of equality in mind. And there are also women who use feminism as a weapon, So I think that, standing up for yourself is an essential thing. But standing up for yourself, like, on top of somebody else's corpse is kind of the opposite of what the whole message is. And I just realized that I said some shit that I just disagree with. I don't think that anybody's gender is any indication of whether or not they're going to be a feminist. However, I will say that I know so many people who have a distorted view of what feminism is, and I kind of feel like if you really look at the history of feminism, it kind of explains itself. And you might be wondering, Becky, you have not said like a positive thing about intersectional feminism like in a while now. It's like 10 minutes in. When's it gonna happen? And that's the truth is that I really believe that feminism is a motor, an engine of progress, and that just like actual cars, it's going to take about at least 100 years or so to get something that sort of resembles a safe trip around town. And then after that, still, we got to deal with like all the other problems that come from the cars. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've had cars for over 100 years now. In the beginning, only really rich people could have cars, and they were super noisy and disgusting and full of flaws. And I kind of feel like feminism is the same way. And while I don't love the car that I bought from intersectional feminism, I'm still like optimistic that like intersectional feminism is the most likely feminism to like go electric. So does that make any sense? And there are people talking about trans feminism, and I don't really like trans feminism like is intersectional feminism. So like, and here's the deal. The reason I stopped and the reason I started having a tangent is because I said something about how men sometimes pretend to be feminist, and then women use it as a weapon. I think that's just super stupid of me to say, because not only am I, speaking in the binary, but I'm also acknowledging the difference between women weaponizing, you know what I mean? Like, it's also soaked in misogyny. And sometimes I piss myself off, and if you'd be amazed, sometimes I get so pissed at myself I can't do anything. But the truth is, trying to sleep with somebody pretending to be a feminist is also weaponizing feminism, like that. So all of it is weaponized. If you're using an ideology as a weapon, I don't know. I mean, at the same time, like, isn't that how progress is made? I'm not sure. But my point is that in the evolution of this car that we call feminism, we're still kind of halfway through. So if you're sitting on the sidelines saying that shit's dangerous, you're gonna fucking fly through the windshield at any moment, it's just like fucking, like, everybody knows. Like, it's not perfect, but it is a hell of a lot better than walking around. At least long distance. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, why am I an intersectional feminist? It's the best option around. It includes trans people, and in theory, it's super fucking solid. Like, I love it. The problem with it, and we're gonna get into it, is in practice, it kind of just is like it's just too many labels, too many categories, and also, you can only make so many choices. After a while, the choices, they get overwhelming, and nobody's making choices as far as, like, an individual level is concerned, but, like, our government and the systemic oppression, like the systemic discrimination that people experience, the things that could really, truly benefit women, people of color, trans people, immigrants, refugees, minorities, all of these people that really need help in a systemic, infrastructural way. At least, intersectional feminism as a concept has been around for 30 years. If it has been working, then why are black people still being killed by police on a regular basis? Why are trans people still being murdered? Why is the systemic oppression staying the same or getting worse? Obviously it's not working out too well. So in practice, I think it could probably, use a couple upgrades. And I think it's more than enough time to start putting some airbags on this fucking car. I don't have any immediate plans, but I think it's important to highlight that I see a lot of people using intersectional feminism almost as just kind of a way to just say, well, I know about this, so I can't be the problem. And then they don't really change anything about their lives or the way they see the world or even maybe who they vote for. It's unbelievable. So, is there anything wrong with intersectional feminism? I think it's like, I think it's the new electric car. I think it's gonna go far. But in practice, we don't have the gas stations for it yet. And people are just kind of like, they're not really doing it. I don't live in California, so I don't know. In Kentucky, I will say, there's a guy in my neighborhood who got a Tesla. I don't know how or why, but he built like it's such a Kentucky garage. It's a garage with no walls. It's just, it's a carport, but like Kentucky style. So it just has like, it's got shingles and it like looks like a little house, but it's just a fucking carport. You know what I mean? Not everybody has an electric car. So that's like the only guy I know. Also, I've heard, again, like Teslas are dope. I've heard that they're super heavy and that they tear up the roads. That's what I've heard. But nothing is perfect. This is all I gotta say. And I will say that the people weaponizing intersectional feminism as kind of a thing to push themselves up and above everybody else is a real bad problem that I see all the time everywhere. Also, people just posting it on social media and then not doing anything about their lives. Like, all I'm gonna say is, if you're an ally, it's something that you do. It's not something that you say that you are. Nobody identifies as an ally. I don't know. People, they're always like, oh, the LGBTQAI, that means LGBT blah 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 allies. No, it stands for fucking asexual. Like, allies, being an ally is not a fucking identity. It's not a fucking identity. It's just something you do. It's a fucking verb. Allyship is, I guess, is it an adverb? I'm gonna look it up. I'm screaming. Is allyship an adverb? Okay, so allyship is the state or condition of being an ally, but an ally is a verb. So it's a state of doing something. A condition, a condition has to be met with an action. It's got to be met with something else. So it's not a noun. You can't just be like, I am ally. That's ridiculous. Like, I am trans. My friend is bi. You can't be an ally. That's something you have to live by. An instant poem. Fuck everybody. What is up with it? You know what I mean? Just fucking do it. It's a fucking verb. But yeah, so I've been trying to figure it out. How can it be that someone who identifies as an intersectional feminist can miss the point so thoroughly that they end up being like a supremacist? Like, this is the end of the outline. I'm cutting straight there. I'm getting straight to it. The end of the outline is, why are people so bad at being intersectional feminists? Why are they so bad? What about it is so difficult? And I think we need to acknowledge suffering and oppression are shared experiences. And you can't tell just by looking at somebody what their identity is, or how many identities they have, or how they stack up on the intersectionality scale. You can't tell just by looking at somebody. And I've met enough performative ally, pseudo intersectional feminists who their goal seems to be not necessarily like equalizing the support, but strategically marketing their allyship for their own gain. That's what I've seen. Using Black Lives Matter to advance your own self instead of using Black Lives Matter to support the cause. Are you supporting the cause or are you supporting yourself? I'm not sure with most of these people, and I understand that like it's 2020 and things are different, but I still remember a time where people didn't. I was like a baby, but I was like a kid when people didn't even have cell phones. These were better times, I feel like, because now you go to the protest and you take your selfie and you go home. And the other problem is that, you go to the protest, you die in the fucking protest, and Everybody's just, sharing the meme. Yeah, you're gonna be shared in a meme a lot. But, are you really a martyr? Does anybody remember you? I'm worried about that. I kind of feel like this year there have been so many casualties that nobody cares. I think we've just become completely desensitized to it. And somehow people have distorted intersectional feminism to mean shitting on and tearing down who they perceive to be privileged, white cisgender men. And it's true that, if you're a white cisgender man, the amount of compounded discrimination that you can have is there's a bit of a limit to it. But it is important to acknowledge that someone that looks like a white man might not be just a white man. They might be a trans man. They might be a bisexual man. They might be a gay man. They might be asexual. They might be gender fluid. They might be disabled. They might be a veteran. They might be a secret poet. You don't even know. Why would you assume? Why would you assume? And again, I guess I'm at a loss. To me, the most supportive thing to do is to talk to people, to listen to them, to hear their story, to hear their perspective, and to make them feel welcome and important and special and included. And I don't know if worshiping your person of color friend just because they're a person of color is that. Because if you're giving someone an insane amount of extra special attention, you're still othering them. It's easy for me to have this perspective because I've broken so many bones, and it happened to me when I was younger too. So whenever I had a new cast or something, people, they would always be like, "Oh, okay, let's make them feel better," you know what I mean? And it's like, what's the plan for that? They're gonna show our support for this person by like crowding around and bumping and nudging your limb in a cast while everybody gets to sign it and just write a picture to themselves on it. And you're just sitting there fucking my arm hurts, you know what I mean? Or my leg hurts, or fucking whatever's broken this time, you know what I mean? After the third time, people were just kind of they're just doing mini art projects on your cast and shit. And it's am I or am I not being turned into a billboard for someone else's shit? And that's what I feel like. Some people are doing to the Black Lives Matter movement, and what I feel like some people are doing to intersectional feminism is that they're going, "Oh, that person has a cast. I'm gonna write my name all over it. Can I have half your cast? Can I write my name on half your cast?" And that's just all it is. I'm fucking over this shit. And I just don't understand it. Support, confront white people that say crazy things about Black Lives Matter. That's what your responsibility should be. Your responsibility should not be singling out your black friend to make them seem like some sort of genius just because you want to look like a motherfucker with the black friend. I can't even get over it. I can't get over it. And, being trans, you have a lot of the similar problems. And, it's not the same. It's just, I'm just saying there are similar problems. You can't be mad about anything. You can't let your sadness show. You have to put on a mask. You have to perform. Man, it just fucking reminds me of the KD-47. But, like, the thing about it is, who is benefiting from intersectional feminism? I hope that the trend works. I hope that, this has been around since 1989. We're going on 32 years of intersectional feminism. And, dare I say that the people who are benefiting the most from feminism are still white women. So, it's not a perfect thing. None of it is perfect. No ideology is perfect. It's not possible. But there are updates, you know what I mean? There's improvements. And I think it's just about the best. It's the best version out there. If you want to download it and run it on your system, I recommend it. There's not as many bugs, but it just kind of drives me nuts. Like, are you using your allyship to distinguish yourself from others, or are you just being an ally? That's what I don't understand. Like, do you even need to announce allyship? That's what I want to know. Like, if you are talking to people in your daily life about things that allies talk about, then no one wonders. No one that has met me wonders about my political beliefs. No one. I don't like to get political too often, but my social beliefs are very strong. I talk about them all the time. And, if I see something in public that's, like, bizarre or disgusting, I talk about it and I confront people. And it's really scary sometimes. But I don't understand what it is about intersectional feminism that gives people such a high. I think it's just they're misusing the term for their own benefit, and they're again, it's supremacy. Like, if you're announcing that your beliefs are superior to someone else's every 10 seconds or so, that's the same as being a supremacist. Like, that's what a supremacist does. Like, if all you're doing is shutting, like, I'm not saying I don't shut people down. I'm just saying I have honest conversation about how I feel and how things affect me. If you have honest conversations about how you feel and how things affect you, then people, you're not shutting someone else's down. You're just giving your perspective. And some people, they go about this the totally wrong way. Like, I was watching I follow this stupid Facebook page, Sapphics for Satan. I like Sapphics for Satan. And they just made a post. They were like, I wish people didn't hate the word lesbian so much. I love being a lesbian. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I love being a lesbian. Woohoo. Or at least I used to. It was a fun thing. And somebody said, I would never brag about being a gatekeeper. And I was like, damn, that's kind of salty. And then somebody else is like, why would you brag about being a TERF? And it was just like, folks, like, people are allowed to be lesbians. People are allowed to be lesbians. You don't need to clump all trans exclusionary radical feminists as lesbians. I think that that's incorrect and lesbophobic and just like made up. A lot of the TERFs I've met are straight women, and it's. I think it should go without saying, but it's not very intersectional to hate lesbians. Oh man, Audre Lorde, you know what I mean? Like Audre Lorde, like she paved the way for so many things, and it's Audre Lorde is like OG mad about it. You know what I mean? Like she's very pro anger. She's very pro black. She's very pro lesbian. She's a black lesbian warrior poet. And she's a black female lesbian warrior poet. And the thing about it is that trans people that shit on feminism or are afraid of feminism are misinformed, and they probably met some of the same sorts of feminists I've met. And you kind of just have to have a strong resolve and understand that, like, the infrastructure of the ideology does encompass trans people. And there isn't really a mainstream popular movement for us besides intersectional feminism. So until I don't know, something else comes along, until they get flying cars, I'm gonna go with this super snazzy electric one called intersectional feminism. And that's my 2 cents. And it depresses me when I see that, trans and genderqueer and asexual and non-binary people some of them are waging Tumblr wars on lesbians, and I think that's fucking stupid and annoying and a huge waste of time. And I think it's ridiculous to have conflict within the community. And also, again, I think intersectional feminism is supposed to be like an agent of calm for those tensions. This is what's supposed to make everybody work together. That's what the goal is. Work together to help each other out. Recognize the common needs, and recognize when someone is giving their standpoint view and respecting it. When someone's telling you their perspective, you have to just listen. And I think intersectional feminism at its core is telling everybody to just shut up and listen. So I think it's about the most outrageous thing that there is, that there's no other way to explain it, but a lesbian mansplained intersectional feminism to me a couple months ago, and completely, in practice, butchered every single part of it. So there's obviously some reckless drivers on the road. That's all I'm gonna say. And I hope you give it some thought. Again, being an ally is a verb, and at its core, intersectional feminism is allyship in practice. So I hope you all have a wonderful time practicing your allyship. You gotta be a practicer. It just is what it is. So Okay, and oh, I forgot to mention, I've got a hell of a playlist coming up. I caught up on some music. 2020 was a really, really good year for trans music. Just about the best trans music year ever. And it's funny because in the past, the playlist, I've been very fixated on women and lesbian music perspectives. That's been my focus. And I'll be honest, I'll level with you. That is just like my own personal bias and practice. But, you know, my perspective has shifted, and now my biases have shifted. So now I've got a whole trans playlist coming up, and I'm pretty fucking stoked about it. It's a really good playlist. Just go ahead, just give you a couple spoilers for it. But you should really check out Mavi Phoenix. Holy shit. And you should check out Left at London. I'm sure you've already checked out Left at London. But Left at London has a new 2020 album that is just fucking unbelievably good. And there's so much good stuff on the playlist. Just about everything is just completely unbelievable. I've been listening to it all the time. So, all right, I'll get that playlist together, and I'll get another episode here eventually explaining all the artists as best I can. Sometimes I do a poop job at that, but I'm gonna do a better job. So ta-ta for now.